Hello, it's the speller here. It's like I got a receding hairline going on here or something. I don't know, my part's all kinds of crooked today. It's crazy. Anyway, I'm going to be doing chapter 12 from this book dealing with people you can't stand. And I hope you'll join me. I hope you'll join in. I hope you'll chat and have a conversation with me about anything regarding this book or whatever's going on in your life or whatever you want to talk about. I'm going to do chapter 12. It's kind of a long chapter. It's not too bad, but this one is called The Know-It-All. Maybe you know a know-it-all. Maybe you are a know-it-all. Maybe I'm a know-it-all. I don't know. Let's read and find out. Hope everybody's doing well on this fine, sunny Sunday morning. As you can see, the sun is shining behind me. It's glaringly bright. It's beautiful. I went to church today. I'm feeling invigorated and energetic and excited to be here. So let's start on our reading. And as always, if you have comments, questions, input, anything that you want to share, please do so. The text messaging is open to all. I don't even have any type of you need to be subscribed to me type thing on there or anything. Anybody can type and text as long as you're able. So let's go. The Know-It-All. And I will comment in between if I see your comment addressed to me. Not a problem. We'll also have chat at the end. Young Boswell was an intern with an avid interest in clinical nutrition. He pursued this interest in his spare time, of which there was precious little. Such was his dedication to healthcare that it was the rare week that went by when you couldn't find Dr. Boswell in the medical school library for at least a few hours, searching literature, reading books and articles. Unfortunately, his clinical supervisor was an elderly physician, Dr. Levitt, who had made up his mind long ago on these matters. He considered nutrition to be little more than the basic food groups and nutritional therapy to be a form of quackery. In the mind of Dr. Levitt, real medicine came in only two forms, drugs and surgery. And that's like talking to people in my family that are in the medical field. If it's not scientific and it's not medically proven, then it doesn't exist as far as they're concerned. Time and again, during clinic conferences, Dr. Boswell would try to suggest nutritional therapies. He was fully prepared to present the research to substantiate his suggestions because he believed this was for the betterment of the patients. But Dr. Levitt, drawing on years of experience and accumulated wisdom, would always cut off the young intern with a commanding voice, and then he would condescend to set the record straight in short order. Boswell, have you been hanging out in health food stores again? How many times do I have to tell you this? Let's hear no more of this so-called therapeutic nutritional nonsense. And as I've said, the treatment is straightforward. Next case. Know-it-alls like Dr. Levitt are knowledgeable and extremely competent people, highly assertive and outspoken in their viewpoints. Their intent is to get it done in the way that they have predetermined is best. They therefore can be very controlling, with a low tolerance for correction and contradiction. New ideas or alternative approaches are frequently perceived as challenges to the know-it-alls' authority and knowledge, regardless of the merits of the ideas or approaches. When their decisions and opinions are challenged, they rise to the occasion, and when their decisions and opinions are questioned, they question the questioner's motives. Know-it-alls believe that to be wrong is to be humiliated. They feel it's their destiny and their duty to dominate, manipulate, and control. They have no qualms about taking your time to talk, but they will waste no time with the inferior ideas of others. As a result, it is quite difficult and next to impossible to get your 2 cents in. So here's our little chart for the know-it-alls right here. And they are right up here with the control area. Maybe you know a know-it-all. Maybe you are a know-it-all. I don't know. I don't know it all. Okay. You'd better adjust your attitude. When confronted by know-it-alls, you must overcome the temptation of becoming a know-it-all yourself. Becoming like them could lead to mental rigidity, as well as the musculoskeletal problems that accompany the refusal to bend your neck and yield once in a while. You must also overcome the temptation to resent know-it-alls for their arrogant refusal to get a second opinion. These resentments have a tendency to build up until they blow up into an argument, which is pointless and which you will more than likely lose. Instead of helping know-it-alls to make you miserable, you can retrain yourself to be flexible, patient, and very clever about how you present your ideas. So it's your decision. Is it worth it to you to do what it takes to deal effectively with these people you can't stand? If the answer is yes, then reframe your experience by seeing through the eminence front of know-it-alls. Realize that these closed-minded, difficult people have doomed themselves to struggle with one of the primal forces of life, uncertainty. The most that can be won in this struggle is the booby prize of being right. For, as Marcel Proust once said, the real voyage of discovery is not in seeking new lands, but in seeing with new eyes. In such a narrow world of their own creation, know-it-alls are, no doubt, very unhappy and insecure people inside, no matter how clean the lab jacket or impeccable the resume. Next, go into your experimental laboratory and remember previous experiences with know-it-alls. Ask yourself what you could have done differently. Who among the people you know have the resources of patience, flexibility, and cleverness? How would they have handled the situation? When and where in your own life have you had those qualities? Go back in your mind's eye to prior encounters with your know-it-alls. Replay the incidents several times in a resourceful manner to develop patience and precision. You'll need these resources when you present your ideas and alternative approaches to the know-it-alls in a non-threatening manner. And by the way, before I continue, if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel, like the videos, share them with your friends, and ring the bell so you don't miss any future uploads. Your goal. Open the know-it-all's mind to new ideas. Your goals with the know-it-alls is to open their minds to new information and ideas. A day may come when you have a better idea or the missing piece of the puzzle. When that day comes and you feel the moral imperative of getting your idea implemented, take aim at the goal and go for it. If know-it-alls stand in your way, let your mounting frustration become sheer determination to open their mind to your idea. Here's your action plan. This is how to do it. This is my favorite part. I always said with my coaching clients back when I was doing life coaching, I'm not going to just tell you to do something. I'm going to teach you why you're doing it and how to do it. I'm going to teach you the step-by-step process of achieving what I'm asking you to try to do. So step 1, be prepared and know your stuff. The know-it-alls defense system monitors incoming information for errors. If there are any flaws in your thinking or if your idea is unclear on any point, the know-it-alls radar will pick up the shortcoming and use it to discredit your whole idea. Therefore, in order to get the know-it-all to consider your alternatives and ideas, you must clearly think through your information ahead of time. Since a know-it-all has little patience for the ideas of others, you will have to know what you want to say and how to say it briefly, clearly, and concisely. Step 2, backtrack respectfully. Be warned, you will have to do more backtracking with know-it-alls than with any other difficult danger zone behaviors. They must feel like you have heard and understood the brilliance of their point of view before you ever redirect them to your idea. If know-it-alls say something and you don't say it back, you run the risk of having to listen to them as they repeat themselves over and over again, if necessary, until you submit. Obviously, this could be very frustrating, lengthy, and unpleasant experience. Some call it torture. Whatever you call it, it's better off avoided. Backtracking is a sure signal to your know-it-all that you've been listening. However, it's not enough to simply backtrack. Your whole demeanor must be one of respect and sincerity. There cannot be so much as a hint of contradiction, correction, or condescension, or a trace of disagreement. You want to look and sound like you understand that the know-it-all's point of view is, in fact, the correct one. Patient backtracking can help you to give that impression. If you backtrack too quickly, it can sound insincere, as if you're doing it to lead up to your own point of view. Though know-it-alls like to get it done, they're usually willing to stop and appreciate their own brilliance when it's reflected back to them. However, if your know-it-all seems to be getting impatient with you, then backtrack a little less and move forward. If you hear, just get to the point, complete backtracking and move on to step 3. And here's step 3. Blend with their doubts and desires. If the know-it-all really believes in an idea, it's because of specific criteria that make that idea important. If the know-it-all has doubts about your idea, then those specific criteria, the reasons why or why not, aren't being addressed. You will find it helpful to blend with those criteria by acknowledging, sure, new word I just came up with, acknowledging those criteria and reasons before you present your idea. Then show how your idea takes those factors into account. How can you know the know-it-all's highly valued criteria? Well, as luck would have it, know-it-alls also have a tendency to develop a finite set of dismissal statements that reflect those highly valued criteria. Through time, these statements become extremely predictable to an attentive listener. Regardless of the idea under discussion, your know-it-all, as at some well-chosen point of discussion, may interject a standard dismissal like, "We don't have time," or "We can't afford to make changes at this point." If you suspect that one of these dismissals will be used to undermine the validity of your information, state it before the know-it-all has a chance to say it to you. In general, you can dovetail your idea with the doubts of know-it-alls by paraphrasing the dismissal statements as a preface to your idea. You can also dovetail with the desires of the know-it-alls by showing how your idea meets their criteria. Since we can't afford to make unnecessary changes, or since we have no time for, so you're kind of beating them to the punch, I think, because the know-it-all is going to kind of put a time limit on things is what it seems to be saying, which is interesting to me because I was thinking today, any good speaker, I've heard them say this term over and over again. And the word is listen. You be talking, blah, 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 and you'll hear them say, listen. They'll just be going on and on, blah, 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 listen. They'll interject that in to get your attention zeroed back in on them. I've done it, actually, just to test it out and see how it works. But it's true. It will command your attention very quickly when you hear that listen. It'll, whatever you're doing, if you're playing on your phone, listen. Oh, he's going to make an important point. I better listen. Pastors do it. Teachers do it. Motivational speakers do it. I think Tony, what's his name? Tony Robbins, he does it a lot. He'll say, listen, or pay attention to this. It's a very, it's a subtle manipulation of your attention span, and it works very well. Okay. By backtracking with respect so they feel like you really understand what they said, and by blending with their doubts and desires, you can create a gap in their defense system through which you can get their attention and present your information. Since none of your behavior could be construed as an attack, there's nothing for them to defend. You are now at the moment of truth. Step 4, present your views indirectly. Proceed quickly but cautiously at this step. You have temporarily disengaged their defense system. The time has come to redirect them to your idea or information. While you redirect, prevent the know-it-all from raising shields again by remembering these helpful hints. So you've finally gotten them off the defense. Now they're listening to you, and you're about to present your idea. But you got to make sure you remember this. Use softening words like maybe, perhaps, this may be a detour. Bear with me a moment. I was just wondering. And what do you suppose? To sound hypothetical and indirect rather than determined and challenging. Use plural pronouns like we or us rather than singular pronouns like I or you. What do you suppose might happen if we, or what might result if we were to? Again, this serves as a subtle reminder that you are not the enemy and they are not under attack. It also gives the know-it-all a bit of ownership over the idea as he or she considers it. Use questions instead of statements. When people act like know-it-alls, they feel they must know the answers to questions. That means they must consider the question in order to answer it. For example, bear with me, but I was wondering, what do you suppose would happen if we were to try, whatever your idea is, out in these specific ways? As you ask your question, include how the know-it-all's doubts and desires will be handled if he or she acts on your ideas and information. All of these steps for dealing with know-it-alls require extreme patience on your part. You have to think before you speak. You have to backtrack with sincerity. You have to dovetail everything you say with their doubts and desires, and you have to be indirect about new ideas. And you may have to take your anti-nausea pills before you do any of it. As is true with all difficult people, you must first decide whether or not the end result is worth what it will take to get there. But the good news is that this strategy gets easier to implement as time goes on. It's not that your back gets more flexible. It's just that as you continue to approach know-it-alls in this non-threatening way, you begin to appear on their screen as friendly. As your ideas get through and those ideas prove to be effective, you develop a track record that gains you respect in their eyes. So step 5. Hope you're still hanging with me. Establish a mentoring relationship. Here's a shortcut to the long-range change that you desire. You can openly acknowledge these knowledgeable problem people as your mentors in some area of your life that you seek to develop. You know, it's interesting that they said this. I'm going to just kind of do a little indent here, or whatever you want to call it, inflection. The biggest problem I have, I think, in getting along with people is that I tend to be more of the teacher than the learner. And a lot of times I run into people that want to teach me something, and I'm very resistant to be taught. You really have to build up a rapport with me and a trust with me for me to let down my guard about somebody trying to give me ideas. So I've noticed that I've been kind of studying myself a lot lately, doing a lot of self reflection. If I trust somebody, if I feel like they have my best interest in mind, then I have no problem at all receiving something from them. But if I don't trust you, I'm going to put up a shield, basically, because I'm the teacher. That's kind of the way I see it. I've always been a leader, like as an adult, very rarely ever a follower. And when I was a follower, it was because I trusted whatever that leader was teaching me. So I think that has been maybe the end of a lot of situations and relationships that probably could have gone on, because I just finally became the leader again and said, look, no, I'm not following you. I'm leading. I am taking over. I'm the teacher. I'm the leader. You're not going to lead me. So yeah, they're right about this, really. And that makes me kind of a know-it-all, I guess. That puts me in that place when I act like that. So that is just a self-confession there. Establish a mentoring relationship. Okay, we already talked about a little bit about that. So Penny, a friend of ours from Ohio, had a stellar track record and resume. She went to work in a large banking system while quite young, and her goal was to become the youngest executive in the history of that institution. Not surprisingly, Penny had great success in her quest, and in very little time, she achieved an executive position. That's when her problems began. She found her every idea, suggestion, and product proposal opposed by a fellow named Dennis, whom she nicknamed the Menace. Dennis had been a part of the system, it seems, since its origin. He had been a personal friend of the bank's founder, and his brain contained the knowledge collected and wisdom of every giant that had ever walked the bank's hallowed halls. No sooner would Penny speak up than Dennis would counter, they tried that 15 years ago, and it was a miserable, expensive failure. No point wasting resources on a failed idea. Undaunted, a word that aptly describes Penny's approach to problems, she began looking for her opportunity to change the relationship dynamic. And the opportunity did present itself in the form of a proposal offered by Dennis at a meeting. Using an astounding number of handouts, charts, tables, and graphs, Dennis proposed a product that could help the bank profitably weather uncertain times in a struggling industry. And the proposal really was brilliant. At the end of the meeting, Penny approached Dennis in the hallway, and she asked him for a personal copy of the proposal, telling him that she admired his work and wanted to study the proposal further. Like a farmer gathering in the harvest, Penny sat down with the proposal and a legal pad, and for several days she gleaned as much knowledge, wisdom, and experience from it as she could. Using the proposal as a springboard, she dug deep, tracing ideas back through the history of the bank, examining reference documents, and conducting other research. When she was done, she copied her notes, clipped them to the top of the proposal, and handed the whole stack of it to Dennis in person. Incredible, Penny told him. Remarkable, inspiring, thorough, impeccable, she went on. I do believe I've learned from your work on this proposal more than any other experience I've had in my time with this bank. Thank you. Penny says from that day on, the relationship was transformed. When it comes to Dennis, whatever Penny wants, Penny gets. By letting know-it-alls know that you recognize them as experts and that you're willing to learn from them, you become less of a threat. This way, know-it-alls spend more time instructing you than obstructing you. It's entirely possible that you will find your way from the disenfranchised group into the generally recognized as safe to listen to group. Consequently, more of your ideas and information will get heard with much less effort on your part and less resistance on theirs. As your good ideas pan out, you will impress the know-it-alls with your wisdom and gain their respect. I'm going to return to this book in just a second. I need to let my kitty cat in, so I hope you will indulge me a moment while I do that. I'm going to let Matthew chase his cat. I'm done chasing Maverick. Okay. Great moments in difficult people history. Thank you for the thumb up. The case of young Dr. Boswell and the chronic know-it-all syndrome. We're going to go back to, I guess, the beginning of what I was talking about, this Dr. Boswell person. Laboratory tests indicate that the white blood cell count is elevated, and we are seeing the usual anemia. Liver function tests are abnormal, including serum bilirubin, SGOT, SGPT, and serum alkaline phosphate. In theory, the treatment is straightforward, though often difficult. Stop drinking, a nutritious diet, and perhaps some corticosteroids to control the hepatitis. Any questions? Young Dr. Boswell raises his hand. As Dr. Levitt peers over his glasses and nods, Boswell rises to his feet, clears his throat, and begins to speak. Dr. Levitt, sir, if I understand you correctly, the peripheral neuropathy, glossitis, and tender hepatomegaly are all characteristic signs of the start of alcoholic cirrhosis? Backtrack with respect. Yes, Dr. Levitt mumbles and affirms with a nod. And laboratory tests indicate that the white blood cell count is elevated, liver function tests are abnormal, and we're seeing the usual anemia? Backtrack with respect. Yes. And sir, the nutritious diet you're referring to, I believe the Merck manual recommends 70 grams of protein a day as tolerated by the patient. Is that right, sir? Know your stuff. Dr. Levitt raises his eyebrows slightly, and with a quick glance around the room at the other students, he says, Very good, Boswell. You've done your homework. Dr. Boswell clears his throat again and continues, Thank you, sir. This may be a bit of a detour, sir, but I was reading in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition about some research on the amino acid L-carnitine and its effect on liver function. Now, I know your feeling about health supplements blend with doubts. You don't want our patients getting improper treatments. And I certainly remember the story you told us about the patient you saw as an intern, the one who died from treating himself because he didn't want to believe his doctors. And it's always haunted you that maybe you could have done something more, blend with doubts. But sir, I'm thinking about patient compliance, blend with desires. No treatment does any good if the patient doesn't comply. This is a patient who has asked us for information on nutrition, and while according to the article in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, L-carnitine 500 milligrams twice a day may improve liver function. If nothing else, it might improve our rapport with the patient and patient compliance with our treatment, blend with desires. I was just wondering what you'd think about our prescribing that for this patient. Note, by ending with a question, Dr. Boswell gives Dr. Levitt control. Dr. Levitt considers what he's heard for a moment. Abruptly, the old man speaks. Very well. I suppose it could do no harm and may even help. Go ahead. You're in charge of it, Boswell. Keep close tabs and report back to us. Who has the next case? Now, hopefully it would work that way. I don't know that it always will. And Maverick got out, so I'm going to try to see if I can locate him. He might be running right back in because it's cold out. Mavy. Maverick. Come on, Ted. Come on, T. Come on. And there goes Bo. Matthew needs to get up and chase his cats. Okay, I'm going to leave that slightly open. I'm going to go see if my husband is awake to take care of the kitties. I need you to go fetch Maverick because he ran out twice. I got him the first time, and now he's out there again. Hi, Ben. Come on. Meet you, stop. It's okay, Teddy. It's okay. Come on. Come on. We now interrupt this regularly scheduled program to go and chase some cats. So I will be right back. Talk amongst yourselves, whatever selves are there. And I'm going to go fetch my cats. Oh, at least it's not freezing out like it was. Hang on, guys. I got to get my coat or something on. It's cold out there. Oh, man, get in there. Come on, man. Come on. Come on. Get. Was he in the usual place? Yeah. Here, I'm going to shut that so they don't get out again. You guys, be nice. Behave. Stay in the house. Too cold for you to be running around out there. Okay, I'm back. Oh, hey, Hannah, how are you? Long time no see. All right, getting back to this story. So far we got Dr. Levitt kind of warming up a little bit to listen to Dr. Boswell. So by backtracking Dr. Levitt's comments, Dr. Boswell demonstrated his respect, interest, and attentiveness. He presented his idea as a detour. He dovetailed his idea with Dr. Levitt's doubts about health supplements in order to prevent a possible objection. He blended his idea with Dr. Levitt's desires by linking patient compliance to proper treatment. And he redirected in the form of a hypothetical question using the pronoun our so that there was no hint of the challenge to Dr. Levitt's authority. The long-range change is worthy of a comment as well. You see, know-it-alls are capable of respecting knowledge in others if you can get them to notice it. As Dr. Boswell's nutritional therapies panned out, Dr. Levitt began to respect Dr. Boswell. By the time young Dr. Boswell finished his internship at the hospital, Dr. Levitt was turning to him spontaneously in clinic conference and asking young Dr. Boswell, tell the class what the nutritional world holds for this type of patient. Dr. Boswell told us that Dr. Levitt's attitude didn't change with anyone else. But rumor has it that Dr. Levitt was overheard in the faculty lounge bragging, that young budding know-it-all reminds me of myself in my med school days. Hi, KK. Okay, we got one little part left in this, and I promise the next book is not going to be this highly technical over the head as this one is. Because this is like, at times gets very, very... it's dealing with the business world, banking, doctors, it's very technical and it's even a little bit over my head at times. But for the most part, I kind of get what they're saying because I have doctors in my family. And I tend to be more of a faith person. They're more science. So, for instance, the ongoing conversation with a few of them has been about getting the shot, the poke, whatever you want to call it. I don't want to get into detail because then I might get my channel struck or something for talking about that in specific. But their theory is if it's not medically backed up and it's not scientific and there isn't, blind studies done and proof and lab tests, blah, 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 we don't buy it. We're going to go and get the poke and you're stupid for not getting it because look at you. You've already been sick. Do you want to get sicker next time? However, From my experience and what I know recently, everybody that I have talked to who has gotten the poke and the booster poke has ended up with the illness. So, and I don't believe in the pokes anyway of any kind, except for a tetanus shot, maybe if I need one. So I'm not changing my stance on that. I'm still anti, and I will remain anti most likely the rest of my life. But when you have medical people in your family, they're going to lean towards the medical way of looking at things. So I can kind of relate to what they're saying here, because I'm also more into the nutrition end of things, the natural end of things. In fact, when I did get sick, that was what I resorted to, even though things were offered to me. I said, no, I'm going to do it natural, or I guess I won't be here to talk about it afterwards if I was wrong, but I'm not going to let you put chemicals and other things in my body, in my bloodstream. So I didn't, and I pretty much upped my vitamin intake. I rested. I did follow medical positioning procedures, like the prone position, laying on my stomach. I would flip back and forth throughout the day and the night. I made sure I constantly was face down as much as I could be, so my lungs would drain. I ended up getting the proper inhalant so that I could clear up my lungs. I did that all with vitamins and natural means. I did not ever get any type of poke or medicine, like that sort of thing. So, anywho, I did something right and I'm still here, or God just had mercy on me. Either way, I'm here to talk to you, and that's a good thing. All right, the carpenter story. When we were student doctors, we saw a patient named Max, whose chief complaint was a stomach ulcer. We couldn't help but inquire in depth as to what was eating him. We also couldn't help noticing the way he carried himself. His every movement was perfectly coordinated with great care. He appeared at all times to be in complete control of himself. We learned that he was a dedicated martial artist and that he had developed himself through this discipline from a very young age. As his story unfolded, we learned that he earned his livelihood as a carpenter. He worked in a carpentry shop belonging to an elderly Japanese gentleman, Mochizuki, who had trained him in the higher levels of his martial arts discipline. Max had taken the job to honor the request of his teacher, Mochizuki's son, Ishida, also worked in that shop. When Mochizuki wasn't around, Ishida would stand over Max and criticize his work. Sometimes his comments were valid, other times they weren't, but more often than not, it was really just a matter of preference. Max was deeply annoyed by this, but Max said and did nothing about it. He didn't want to offend his teacher by complaining about his son. Instead, Max used the self-discipline he had learned from martial arts to suppress his thoughts and feelings, particularly the thoughts about using Ishida as a practice dummy. As we talked, Max reframed his ulcer as an unconscious mechanism that was forcing him to deal with the discomfort of his work situation. We asked Max if there were some other ways that he could handle the situation, besides suppressing his thoughts and feelings. Max said he could leave, but he didn't want to do that because he learned so much when Mochizuki was around. Another idea was to continue as he had in the past. His stomach actually hurt when he thought about that one. His third option took us all by surprise. Max suddenly saw himself letting Ishida be the expert. He imagined himself thrusting the tools toward Ishida and saying, "Show me." He kind of smiled at that one. And that, in fact, is what Max ended up doing. Whenever Ishida approached, Max would circumvent the once inevitable criticism by voluntarily turning it into a learning opportunity. I want to learn. Show me what you would do. Turn them into mentors. Ishida had not anticipated this development and was initially taken aback. In time, he was moved by this gesture and he became less harsh with Max. Though they never became friends, the relationship did become friendlier. Max actually learned some valuable techniques, and Ishida acknowledged the artistry of Max's work. Best of all, Max's ulcer symptoms went away completely. I've been telling my daughter Amber she's going to get an ulcer because Amber likes to kind of mentor people, but then she gets upset when they don't do what she wants them to do. And I said, you're going to give yourself an ulcer if you keep trying to be the micromanager of these people that you're trying to help. It takes two in a relationship of any kind, even a mentor-mentee relationship. The mentor that's instructing has to have cooperation from the mentee to a certain extent. Otherwise, you got a one-sided relationship, and that's never going to work in anybody's favor or best interest. So I've been telling Amber, you got to back down. Of course, she is right now. She's kind of in a standstill with this situation she's in. And she's backing off and letting the person decide, are they going to go this way or that way? And I told her, you can't get all bent out of shape if somebody decides to go a different way than what you want them to go. She said, I know, Mom, but I've cultivated this relationship with this person, and she looked up to me and she told me she wanted my help. And now she's saying I'm trying to be too controlling and trying to tell her what to do. I said, well, it's going to go one way or the other. She's going to decide whether she still wants your help or she's going to move on in a different direction. And you can't blame yourself. People come for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. That might just have been a season situation, and now she's finished and she's moved on. Sometimes the person being taught outgrows the teacher. I've had that happen. And believe me, the person that it happened with was not too happy when I outgrew the teacher. They wanted to cling to me and say, wait a minute, no, I was there for you. What are you doing? Where are you going? I'm not done teaching, but I'm done learning. So I'm moving on. I'm going in a different direction. All respect to you, and I appreciate what you taught me, but I'm on my own now. You taught well. I'm spreading my wings and I'm flying, and it's okay. It's a good thing. It's supposed to happen this way. But sometimes even the teachers, they can have some insecurities, and that makes them feel bad. It makes them feel like, oh, you don't need me anymore. And what am I going to do now? Well, go find somebody new to teach that's teachable, because at that point, I haven't been teachable anymore. Okay, so when someone becomes a know-it-all, this is your quick summary. By the way, if you missed all of this reading that I did, I'm going to just summarize it for you. Your goal is to open the person's mind to new ideas. And here's how you do that with a know-it-all. Number 1, be prepared to know your stuff. Number 2, backtrack respectfully. Number 3, blend with their doubts and desires. Number 4, present your views indirectly. And number 5, establish a mentoring relationship. So that was the end of chapter 12. This is the one coming up. Chapter 13 is about the think they know it alls. And it shows a bunch of people here kind of standing around. One that's sort of proclaiming themselves to be the, think they know it all, and everybody around some kind of ignoring them. The other person like, yeah, right, whatever. And the other person is listening to them. 2 people are listening to them. So everybody kind of approaches it in different ways. Some people get really defensive at the think they know it alls and the know it alls. And other people are just like, interesting. I'm trying to be more that person, interesting, and hearing other people out and their opinions, because I'm learning that I'm not the only one that has good ideas about things. Yeah. Whew. So, hi, Sue. How are you? Anyway, I'm just going to open up the floor for discussion now, if you will. Talk about your day, whatever's going on with you. If anything in this book kind of resonated with you, if you've run into any of these situations with know-it-alls in your life and how you handled it, if it was successful for you or not. And this is Teddy Bear, in case you didn't know. This is Teddy Bear, my old diabetic cat that can't really see very well, but sees well enough to sneak out the door when I'm not looking, don't you, bud? He's an old man. He's like 15 or 16 years old. I'm not even sure, but this dude is kicking it with the rest of them. In fact, he's faster and wiser than the other ones, I think, honestly. He's a pretty smart guy. If Hillary was here, she'd be going nuts, because this is her guy. She loves Teddy Bear. Told her if she lived closer, I'd ship him over there for her. She could babysit. Anyway, so how's everybody doing? How's your day going? What have you done today? I went to a prayer meeting thing today. It was very interesting and enlightening and very spiritual. I enjoyed it immensely. And then I went right into church service after that. And then I went to the pantry and got some food. A little bit of food for the guineas, a little bit of food for me. So we were really blessed. That was nice. I'm making some acquaintances who hopefully will become friends soon. Oh, I have to yawn and get some oxygen in my lungs. I've been napping before I came on here. That's why I'm so full of energy. Oh, I did get to taste in the coffee shop. I got to taste something they call a River City Mud today. It was very good. It was chocolate milk with coffee and I don't know what else they put in, some kind of flavoring. It was absolutely delicious. I think there was more chocolate milk in it though than there was coffee because it didn't give me that normal heart racing, uncomfortable feeling when I drank even like a half a cup of it. So I came home and gave the rest to my husband. So yeah, that was cool. I had a good day. Anyway, you guys talk a little bit. You chat a little bit. I'm talked out. Ugh. But it's good to see everybody. So what's new? What's happening? How are your channels going? How are your days going? Got any upcoming plans in the week? I work on Tuesday. I'm going to probably do some grocery shopping after that with my daughter, Carol. How's the sugar? Or didn't you check it yet? Are we doing good? Ooh, honey.
Butter.
Husband's doing better with his sugars, with the diabetes. You're procrastinating?
Yeah.
Am I supposed to show it or something?
No, just showing you.
Okay.
And then it shows what it's been at. Let me look.
Oh.
Then it shows what the sugar's been at around this time, the last few days.
Cool. I like it. Statistics. That's what that is.
I like it too.
Stats.
It keeps me aware and accountable.
Yes. Matthew has discovered an app for his diabetes testing. It shows actually what the sugars have been and what it usually is at this time of day, I guess. Yeah. So it kind of keeps him accountable to keep those sugars where they need to be. I'm glad he found that because we've been trying everything to really help him, and it's been frustrating for both of us. Probably more so for him. So you had a plan, KK, I think you're saying, and now you're like, I'm going to totally do something different. So you made more work for yourself. Man, I can relate to that. I tend to always do things the hard way, or usually do things the hard way rather than, listening to my husband or just doing things that worked before. I tend to want to be a bit of a risk taker. Although sometimes there's room for that. Pastor talked about that today, about how the really great people in life and the people that find their life going in a good direction usually have to take risks. And I'm definitely a risk taker. There's no doubt about that. But sometimes I have to remember to take those calculated risks, not just jump into the pool and not know how deep it is, So, yeah. Anyway. Anybody else? Any input? Any takeaways? Anything you want to share? I'm going to get some laundry done between today and tomorrow. Catch up on some clothing so that we have stuff to wear during the week. Kitchen is still staying relatively clean, I'm happy to say. Organized. You can still see the floor pretty good. I'll show you. Just some cat dishes out there. But yeah, I like the new arrangement. I'm happy with the organization. I'm glad I took the time to do the clutter bug techniques, and it's paying off. Very much so. Still following the daily clutter bug techniques, and I'm going to continue. Because if it ain't broke, we don't fix it. Right, Ted? Okay. I see an 8th person has come in, 10th person. Hello, everybody. Thanks for coming to my room today. What's new? What's happening? Teddy's going to demonstrate how to clean his paws. and to shake whatever out of his ears. Did you guys see my cat video earlier? You wish the book didn't focus on the medical aspect. You tend to go for the opinion of the experienced doctor. Ah, that's all right, KK. A lot of people do, and I think the older generation more so because, like my mother-in-law, for instance, if the doctor said it, that's the way it was. She didn't question her doctor. She had full faith in her doctor, and that's just how she lived her life. I, on the other hand, am a rebel, and I'm always going to question the doctor. I'm always going to look up my own information and do my research and decide what works for me. And so far, I'm alive to tell about it, so I'm doing something right, at least somewhat. Doesn't mean everybody else is wrong for listening to their doctor. If you have a good doctor, by all means, trust them. I don't have real good doctors where I live. I really don't. Our doctors are scary sometimes. They give diagnoses that are not correct. They give medication that's not correct. So you really kind of have to do your research or not survive at the hands of some of the physicians where I live. Hey, Evelyn, thanks for the heart. Love you too. So yeah, everybody's situation is unique and different. There's nothing wrong with listening to your doctor. If you got a good one, then that's awesome. I'm happy for you if that's the case. I just don't have that blessing at this time in my life to have a really good doctor that I trust. There was a time I had a doctor that I really trusted, and I ended up leaving for a closer doctor proximity-wise because I didn't have a vehicle at the time. And he won't see me again because I left. It's just his rule, I guess. Once you leave, you're gone.
No, that's not what it was.
It's not what it was?
No, it said he doesn't see new patients, and since you left, you get new patients.
Oh, okay. Well, still, same thing, wasn't it? Oh. You got a booster shot about a week ago. You ran a fever, but all is good. I'm glad all is good. Good, Evelyn. That's excellent. Everybody's body is so different, everybody's choices are different. It's really, as people say, kind of a hit or miss thing. I believe it's a faith thing for me. But there are people in my church, some of them have had it and some of them haven't. So it's just all a personal preference. I think as with any medical procedure, really. I don't know. I'm always happy when someone says, if they had the shot that they're doing okay. That's good. And I mean, there is a theory that there are placebo shots as well. I don't know what your guys' opinion is on that. Basically, kind of like giving you something that isn't actually anything harmful or chemical. And then some people say that it's kind of a state of mind, if that's the case. So I don't know. Oh, wow. Yeah, I understand, KK. I will pray that God gives you wisdom to know what to do about that. Hey, Dana Banana. Dana. Good to see you the other night and today. And anytime, really.
I will survive.
Oh, that's good. You will survive? What's wrong?
Just talking to myself. I just almost fell over.
Uh-oh. Maybe you need to see a doctor.
No, I refuse to see a doctor.
You're very pale.
Oh, well, I'm white.
Okay. That's good that you got a strong immune system, Evelyn. I'm glad. Mm-hmm. Some people do. I think my immunity was not strong, but I think I did the right things to kind of improve my immunity is what happened. Plus, I had my husband taking care of me, which was fantastic. But then he got sick from taking care of me. So that wasn't so fantastic. He's doing a little better, though. I'm trying to get this piece of litter off of Teddy's foot. I think I got it. Good. You got litter in your paws, buddy. Not fond of this litter as far as how it sticks to the cat's feet. Yeah, how is your job going, Evelyn? I think you were pretty happy with it last I heard. Where are you going, T? My goodness, you're climbing all up my shirt here. Are you not comfortable, buddy? I'm just trying to pick at your paws and make sure I got all the litter off of them. That can't be comfortable, I'm sure. Oh, that one's good. Man, these claws are big. Need to trim his claws, but he does not like it. Oh, I got the yawns today. Oh. Well, cool, Evelyn. You're getting down to brass tacks, as they say. There's always that learning curve. I know when I go into the bakery and they hit me with a new thing to do, I panic. I just get like, oh man, I don't know if I'll be able to remember how to do this. I write down on my little cheat sheet, but I'm always worried that I'm not going to do it right and stuff. So yeah, it's a learning curve. It's an adjustment. And then once I got it, I got it. It just takes a while to get it. Teddy bear. Yeah, probably better not to get into the details on here, as we know. That's fine. That's wisdom. Protect yourselves. You'll be working overnights. Oh, okay. Gotcha. That will be interesting. My daughter's been doing that somewhat. Doing some overnights. I guess she likes it, though, or liked it. I don't know if she's still doing it, but she would stay with the patients overnight, and she said it was okay. She learned a lot about different personalities and such. Yeah, the old third shifter, huh? Or second shifter. Here, Ted, you go down and eat some of that, okay? Go eat some of that. That won't hurt Johnny. Sounds like fun, Evelyn. Congratulations. I know those shifts and jobs are much in demand. I mean, they need a lot of people for those shifts because a lot of people don't want to do them. So good for you. I don't want to do any overnight shift, that's for sure. I like to sleep at night. Yeah, there you go. Everybody's usually sleeping. No problem there then. You guys talk while I lift. I need to do some weightlifting stuff. My little dumbbells. Hi, Jeff. I was very much enjoying your impersonations on your channel the other day, Jeff. I was laughing my head off, seriously. Yeah, KK, good way to put it. What if the bracket's missing a screw? I'll go flying down the hill. Yeah, it's natural to be a little bit concerned when you start a job. I have to just tell myself, you'll get through it. So what if you don't do it perfectly? Everybody has a learning curve to start out with. We all begin at the beginning, right? Laughter is the best medicine, for sure. That's the other thing I did when I had COVID. I purposely watched stuff that was funny, that made me laugh. And even Matthew, if he saw me getting too into stuff that was upsetting me, he'd tell me to switch to something different. And I think that helped a lot. Oh, yeah, I'm sure she'll do great. She will do absolutely wonderful. So many people on here on YouTube have so many KK, so many talents and skills and stuff that nobody really knows about and don't need to know about, really, unless they want to share them. We all have things that we're good at, really. I'm trying to decide what I want for dinner tonight. I'm getting kind of hungry. I have an early dinner, so. Of course I did, Evelyn.
We have that churro meat.
The chorizo?
We could use that or something.
Mix it with eggs and vegetables.
Like that, yeah.
Of course I loved that you had nice things to say about me. That made me really happy. Who doesn't? I mean, I guess if you're like that humble that it makes you embarrassed and makes you all red or whatever if somebody says nice things. That doesn't affect me that way. I'm just like, yes, I am, aren't I? No, I'm not. I'm just playing. I know, wasn't it, KK? It blew me away. I thought maybe Maverick and Bo wanted to eat the lettuce. So I would put it up there and Bo would like sniff at it like he wanted to eat it. And then all of a sudden I noticed he was just like pushing it into the cage. He had been watching me dump it into the cage from the top. And he just wanted to help me. It was crazy. I was like, wow, okay, those are some smart cats. Animals amaze me anyway. Just the stuff that they imitate and pick up and whatever. I love my cats. They're just brilliant animals. And such comforts when you're hurting or you're sick. They know. When Matthew gets sick, Maverick wants to be like right up in his face. All the cats, really. When I was sick, a lot of times I would wear a mask because my cats wanted to be in my face. I didn't know if maybe I could transmit it to them. I didn't want them getting sick too. So I was always pretty careful about that. The lady that brought me home from church today said she thinks that the whole virus thing is dying out, that eventually we'll hear that it's gone. My pastor has an interesting take on the whole virus situation. If you watch the video on my community page, you'll hear about that. So yeah, I had a really good time at church today. I'm so glad I went. I feel like such a more positive person when I go to church. It's just like-minded people and people that understand where I'm coming from. We all kind of think very similar and do things in a very similar way. So it's just comfortable for me. I feel like a square peg in a round hole a lot of times on YouTube. I just don't fit in. And I don't really want to fit in with some of it because it's not me. But I realize now that, my channel, I can do my stuff on. I don't necessarily need to bring my stuff into other channels, though. You sent it to the wrong Dana. I know I sent something from a lady that I used to go to a church with that I saw at this church today. And I'm hoping I sent it to the right lady in the right email address. That's what I heard, KK, that Omnicron is not as bad as the other one. Other ones, I should say. The other two. So hopefully it's going to be dying out. Well, in the summer when it gets super hot here, it won't be as high of a statistic of people ending up with it. I know, Evelyn. Very true. I happen to know several people that have a lot of faith and have very similar beliefs to mine that will not talk about it on here at all. They absolutely will not. You won't. You would be surprised who they are too. And they just won't bring it on here because it's sad because, you know, my belief says that if you're ashamed of God, he's going to be ashamed of you. So that's hard for us that are Bible follower people to not want to talk about that stuff because we see it as answer, you know, it's an answer to people's problems. It's a direction that's a positive direction to point people into. And we don't dare on here because some people are very offended and they just turn on you, you know. Exactly, Jeff. Exactly. Yeah, that is true. But I think it's like, it's any type of belief system. I mean, if I was atheist, I would feel more comfortable around atheists, I'm sure. So because I am what I am, I'm more comfortable around what I am. It just really, I can be fully myself around people like that. So. That's good, Evelyn. I had to laugh though today because Pastor told about how he's like, when I got up this morning and I looked at the weather, it said that it was 18 degrees out. And I said to God, really? And God said, yep. He said, I said, really? He said, yep, deal with it. Suck it up, Buttercup. So, and I had to laugh because that's what my daughter Carol constantly tells me. If I don't like the way something is going, or I just get frustrated about something, that's what she tells me. Suck it up, Buttercup. It was just funny that my pastor said it. So I sent her the actual link to the message so she could hear him say it. Oh, my pastor's pretty down to earth. I got a sleepy Teddy over here on my lap. He's quite content. It was funny today when I was at prayer, my friend that I was friends with, she was actually my prayer partner back in another church. She came up to me and she said, and tell me your name again. I said, I know your name is blank. And she's like, yeah, your name? I said, Laura. She goes, yeah, I remember you liked Bobby, whatever his name was, Bobby Bronson or whatever. I said, I did? She goes, yeah, you used to tell me how you loved how he would pray the scriptures and stuff, and he would just do one right after the other. I said, okay. I didn't remember it. I mean, it was that long ago. If I did say that, I don't even remember who the guy was I said that about. So I have to go back and figure out who she's talking about. I made a little note in my journal, look up this name, see if I still like him or not, you know. Oh yeah. Gotcha, KK. And yeah, I know. Atheists can be kind of mean sometimes. Oh, thank you, Marley. Again, it's from Liard. It's the lipstick she sends me. It's the color she wears, actually. And we're both winter seasons with our clothing and stuff, so we wear very similar things. It's kind of cool because we're both Italian. We're both dark haired, dark eyes, kind of the pale complexion. Yeah, we are similar, and obviously I don't look exactly like Lee, but I have those kind of characteristics. Yes, Lee is awesome. How can you not like Lee? She's very feisty though. Very set in her own beliefs and her ways, just like me. But she's kind of more in your face than I am too. I can be like that, but I'm trying not to be. I'm trying to come more over to my compassionate, sweet side than my feisty, this is the way it is side. Yeah, if there's any not nice people in here, I can't see them probably because they're most likely blocked. So most of the people I've been talking to, as far as I can tell, are pretty nice. Y'all are my friendies, acquaintances, whatever we have. So, yep. I think what set my week off, or my weekend, if you will, is working with my boss last week. It was such a blast. I had so much fun with that. I could have stayed for hours and hours working with her. She was awesome. Great conversationalist and uplifting and encouraging and funny, and taught me how to flip the bag to do the twist tie, which was pretty cool. Well, I kept looking at her. She would like bag the bread into the bag. She'd take the twist tie and she'd go like that, like flip the bag. And I was like, I wonder if I should just like ignore it and continue doing what I'm doing, or should I say something? I thought, I just stick my neck out and say, hey, I'm fascinated by the way you flipped that bag. She goes, oh, here, I'll show you how to do it. She showed me take the twist tie, hold it with this hand, take the bag with the bread and flip one flip, and it twists the twist tie for you. So you don't have to sit there and go like this with the twist tie. Brilliant. Made my job so much quicker. You can't do that with some of the bread though, like the brown and serve rolls. You can't do that because it will bust right through the bottom of the bag and you got to start all the way over. Aw. Your doggy likes the snow. I know. I think my Shih Tzu used to like the snow too. I don't remember if Maya liked it, but I think she did. She was an interesting dog. I know my Chow Shepherd used to love the snow. We used to go out and play with her in the snow. My first marriage, we had a Chow Shepherd dog, Chloe, and she absolutely loved snow. She loved snowballs. Okay. Someone's knocking at the door. Somebody's ringing the bell. Do me a favor, open the door and let them in. Oh, yeah. I remember that song. That was a crazy song. Some of the music I used to listen to was just insane. Yes, it is, Marley. It is. I mean, like I said, I don't see me necessarily living and dying at the job because I really don't see me doing that at many jobs at all. But it's a nice one. It's not bad. Paying the bills, making me, a little bit of money to live on and to take care of things that I need to take care of. Oh my goodness. Somebody's knocking. Should I let them in? Yeah, I don't know what that song is. KK. I don't think I've heard that one. Man, we got so many chapters of this book left. Lots of chapters. Just to kind of remind you of what they all are. We got the think they know it all. Then we got the grenade. Next, we have the yes person, the maybe person, the nothing person, the whiner, the no person, the judge. I think that's it. Oh, the meddler. Forgot about the meddler. The martyr. And there you go. And then at the end it says, what if people can't stand you? So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Terry Gibbs, somebody's knocking. Huh. I'll have to check that out. I don't remember that one. Ouch. Yeah, it's been a good book. It's a little too technical, like I said, a little bit too into the medical things, but I guess what do you want for two doctors that wrote the book, right? Next book that I do will be a little bit simpler, I'm sure. I'll make sure of it because it's just like, even reading it sometimes is like, oh, I got to get through this next page. Oh, my teddy bear. What am I going to do with you, dude? He's purring really loud here. So I'm hoping I get a ride to church every week because I think it really changes my attitude. And if you change your attitude, it'll change your altitude, as they say. I'm just glad there's a church that's of my belief system. It's not easy to find one. Somebody asked me today at the prayer meeting, hey, it's good to see you here. What church did you used to go to? Where'd you come from? And I had to think. I'm like, kind of nowhere for a while. We were visiting a couple churches, but I don't think since our church Upward closed that we really have gone to church on a regular basis very long. Have we? Mm-hmm. I didn't think so, because Upward, I said, I think we got PTSD when Upward closed because we were really starting to enjoy that church a lot. Starting to get to know people. I was excited to kind of be joining with the pastor on the worship team and helping him with worship. I never got to do it. I was about to. And then he said that his daughter got so sick that they had to move back to Alabama to her doctor back there because he was the one that specialized in whatever her illness was. And they were just going to go back to visit, and then they were going to come back here. They wanted to finish tying down the loose ends with their house back where he came from, and then they were going to come back here and continue in the church. And they messaged everybody on Facebook where he was preaching from and said, we're not coming back. We're staying out here because my daughter's just too sick and we can't afford to take that chance. So it's not his fault, obviously, but it sent us into a tizzy, both of us. I feel like I got PTSD from that. I just really never could find anything to even be as enjoyable as that church was. It was like a brand new church, just starting out. We got in on what they say the ground floor. That's funny, KK. It's Lord, it's the devil. Would you look at him? I will definitely check that song out, KK. That sounds like an interesting one. Thanks for posting that. Yes, very apropos at this time of me talking about church and such. Definitely. That's a good one, though. Yeah. I definitely feel like my chat room is coming back into what it was before, where it's just enjoyable and peaceful and a safe place for people. I guess I didn't know who the people would be that would be here. And it's definitely different people than what I had imagined. And I'm glad you're here. Oh, me too, Marley. Me too. I think I can grow with this church. I just hope this pastor stays because he's excellent. As I said, you can watch him on the community post. He's really good. Pastor Scott. And they have like a couple other churches that are like sister churches or whatever. So there's several different churches that are similar. I just go to this one because I don't know, it's where I was led to go. But we're going to be going to a marriage conference soon, and that's at the other church, the sister church, which I used to play keyboard at back when it was called The Bridge. It's not called that anymore. Yeah, you both have cats on us. Well, this is the most Teddy's been with me in a while. He just doesn't seem to want to get down. He's all into me here, kissing my chin and licking my face. He's being all lovey-dovey, aren't you, T? He has done so well with his diabetes, by the way. Now, I don't know on paper or with blood tests how he's doing, but I can tell you he has lost a lot of weight. He used to be, what did he used to weigh? He was like really big.
11 or 12.
How much?
11 or 12.
11 or 12 pounds, and now he's what, 9? Yeah. So he lost like 4 pounds, and he's looking great and acting so much freer, just able to run around with the other kitties. And I just got really careful with his feeding and stuff. I made sure he was getting his, meaty food and stuff. But I also give him some of the kibble now that he's so thin. He can have more kibble. It doesn't seem to be bothering him any. It's not making his diabetes cause any major health problems that I know of. So he just pretty much kicks it with the rest of them. He sleeps a lot. He's old. He's an old guy. And he can't see very well. But he definitely is a happy guy. He's always purring and smiling and lovey-dovey. And yeah, he's done a lot better than people thought he would. I mean, like, 5-6 years ago when we got him, however long ago it was, they gave him up for dead. They thought he was going to die. And if he would have stayed with Dangling over there at that animal society place that she runs, he probably would have died like his brother did. He had a brother. Well, he wasn't a brother. He was more like from another litter, but they were friends. And he was a Siamese, Simba, I named him. And he died at the hands of this lady that should really not be running a cat shelter. But unfortunately, she has connections, like legal connections, and people have tried to shut her down, and it won't happen. So cats are not well treated at this place, and they're dying left and right at that place, and sick and sad, very sad. I will never get a kitty from there again. But not Teddy. He's making it, huh, T? TT's a strong man with his little white mittens. We don't know how long this guy's going to make it because he has faked out everybody that thought he was a goner. Anyway, I guess I will skedaddle. It was a nice conversation we had with everybody. I'll be around and about today, checking out your chat rooms and stuff like I do. Might not say a whole lot, but I'll pop in, say hi, maybe chat a few minutes, see what's up. I'm going to get going and see what I can scrounge up for dinner. And I really enjoyed hanging out with you guys today. Remember, our next chapter is going to be the Think They Know It Alls, chapter 13. So that'll be an interesting one. Those aren't my favorite ones to study. I can't wait to get to the grenade and the whiners. Those are the ones I want to learn more about. And of course, the last chapter, What If People Can't Stand You? That's going to be a good one. Oh, no, that's okay, KK. Thanks for coming in. Y'all have a great day and a great week, because today is Sunday. For some of you, your week starts on Monday. My week actually starts on Sunday. So, yeah, have a great one, and I'll talk to you soon. Be blessed, everybody, and shalom.